be happy when I've got a new car, when I've got X amount of money in the bank, when I've got a boyfriend, girlfriend, when this friend gets along with this friend, when they're both happy, I'll be happy. When this family member accepts me for who I absolutely am instead of what they would hope me to be, then I'll be happy. I'll be happy when my boss is nice to me. I'll be happy when I live in a bigger house. I'll be happy when my own children are happy. Are you noticing a pattern here? All of those things are external. They are not things that are going on inside of you. And the reality of this life is you can only control what goes on the inside. You can work on who you are and how you respond to the outside world, but up to a certain point, you can't really control what goes on around you, although you would like to think that you can, but you can't. In fact, the fact that you think that you can is a very large part of the suffering that's going on with you at the moment, if you're still listening now. And the Buddha put this to the test. He was in the perfect place to do it. You know, spiritually, he incarnated in to enlighten. But physically, in the material realm, he was born a prince. Damn, right? He had everything. He had the big, secure house, delicious food, dancers, servants, bedding, lighting at night. He had everything. Everything. He only had like the royal politics, I'm guessing. He had filled in all of the I will be happy whens, pretty much minimized them because he was born into great wealth and still he was not happy. And he became interested in spiritual things and then decided, I will be happy when I enlighten. That's when he decided that he would be happy when. So he went out and he became what we would call an ascetic. He gave up everything. His safety, he left the palace walls, he went out into the world and he didn't have enough food and he gave all his time for other things and none for himself. He nearly starved to death before he accepted that the strict living religious life was neither the way to enlightenment or happiness. He realized that neither of those were going to do it. And so he said, there is a middle way. And that way is a place of peace, where you are neither attached to happiness or chasing happiness, and you're neither avoiding pain. Now, how does this wrap into trauma? When we have childhood trauma, when we are in fight or flight, the way that we live is in a permanent state of instability. And so when you grow up, either you continue to choose the kinds of people around you that create instability because instability feels normal, and you just don't know the right people to choose to keep your inner world relatively calm. Because why would you? Because that's normal. In some cases, you will purposely do things to destabilize because peace feels weird or boring. Or that quiet, in many cases, actually, quiet can be quite triggering in itself, simply because when things are quiet, you are forced to listen to your inner voice. And your inner voice is actually, it's a barometer to how well you are doing upstairs. But if your inner voice is being a bitch, then it's not possible for you to be calm. And that is why when we attach our happiness to external things, it is actually an avoidance of what's going on inside. So we will literally rock the boat to prevent peace so that we don't have to listen to this. And many people that I work with have a real aversion to sitting quietly or listening to their inner thoughts for that reason, because they don't want to face it. But the one thing that we absolutely have to do right at the beginning of trauma recovery is actually sit down and promise ourselves, really, really, and really mean it and stick to it, that now that I am aware that things could be better, I am going to actively do everything I possibly can in order to recover. And that moment happened to me a long time ago. And I realized that it was the day that I realized that the word responsibility was very, very deliberate. And it was one of those words are spell things. Because when you take responsibility for everything and you agree to take action on the things that you need to in order to affect change in your life, it's not just that you take responsibility, it's the fact that you have the ability to respond to anything that might happen to you, which means that external things are no longer so threatening. And I just want you to pause for a moment and let that settle in. What would it be like if you had the ability to respond to whatever came in? If suddenly, when you have a bad day, it's not the end of the world. It is just, it's a bad day. It's okay. We will get through this. I will do X, Y, and Z, and we will be inconvenienced for 3 or 4 days, and that's it. A lot of people in fight or flight are so affected by a bad day that they're unable to take action. And so it's so important to spend time meditating to bring your average brainwave state down enough that when something bad happens, that your bottom brain, the reptilian part of your brain, doesn't take over the prefrontal cortex, because this is where all of this part of your brain is where all of the good stuff happens. It's the part of your brain that makes good decisions when other people are running around like headless chickens. And it's really important to do the somatic work, to do your meditation, to listen to your inner child, and actually become friends with her, and to be in your body as much as you are in your head. And those things are all the middle way. Everything that I teach really is the middle way, but based on what it is that you need in regards to being in fight or flight, or getting all the way up to awake and able to handle anything and to understand the nature of reality, etc. Everything from that to that. The beginning of it is understanding that happiness isn't something to aspire to. Happiness is something to enjoy in the moment when it occurs. Happiness is an understanding that you will be happy now in this moment, but later on you probably won't be, and that is okay. And then also to be able to say that what's happening now is, I really don't like it. I don't prefer it. It's not what I was hoping for today. And then, if necessary, take action to get out of it. To be able to genuinely say to yourself, in the same way that you did for the happiness, this will have gone by tomorrow. This too shall pass. That, that's, that's when you have the ability to respond to anything. So when Buddha realized that either chasing happiness or avoiding pain was actually, it was the kind of tactic that didn't avoid suffering, it actually caused it. I think he called that dukkha. And And so when he realized that the extremes weren't where the good stuff was at, he decided that the middle way was the way to go. And so I have yet to find a part of my life that I cannot apply the middle way to successfully and make things better, to make things more peaceful, happier for me, to create the most amount of stability. So I want to be clear here. I don't do things to reach towards either way. Everything I do is around stability. I know that you would think going on the internet and posting a video of me talking about the middle way is the opposite of creating stability. But for me, I truly believe that my purpose is to help people en masse become calmer. And in some ways to do with karma as well. And and so by doing this, I am fulfilling my purpose and creating stability because the universe wants you to do the thing that you're supposed to do. So some people might look at me and think, there she is. She talks online all the time. She wants everybody to listen to her. She must be chasing happiness. I am not. I am not chasing happiness. I am chasing purpose. And that is a very, very different thing. My purpose may change over a period, and I will not be attached to that. I am excited about it. I love doing it. I really love helping people. Um, but I am still not attached. Yeah, it's middle way, all the way. And then there's avoiding pain. We are so invested in maintaining the relationships that we do have that we fail to look at whether or not those relationships are actually good for us in the long run. And we would rather be maintaining a terrible relationship than spending time learning to build a better one. It sounds like I'm almost turning the middle way on its head there by desiring something on the other end. But the reality for this one is that what you're trying to do is you're trying to get yourself from a position where you have not very good friends or a lot of not very good friends up to a set number of friends that you desire. Maybe the culture or people around you have told you that you want loads and loads and loads of friends, but the middle way kind of kicks in when you realize that actually I probably could only maintain like two or three friends. Um, and then another part of you goes, well, I really want these people to be exactly the way I need them to be. People are people, and they will come in the way that they are, and either they are right for you or they are not. To a certain extent as well, how you turn up to a relationship will affect how that person is with you, or whether or not that person sticks around at all. And you know that. And you don't want to hear this right now. You're listening to me and you're going, oh, oh. But that is true, and you know that because you spend a large part of your time people pleasing in order to keep those people around. Now, what would it be is if you dropped one or two of those people and then spent the time that you would have spent maintaining them attempting to find people that don't need to be maintained? And how much peace and stability would that bring you? That is the middle way. It is an absolutely beautiful concept, and it can be applied throughout your life with very few exceptions. And just in case you're sitting there still and thinking, but I really don't want to be without those people. This again is the avoiding of the pain. The pain is the pain of being rejected or being alone. And I understand that. I do. It's a way that I used to be. But the problem with that is that by doing this, in the long run, you are actually choosing people to spend time with that will either reject you when you can't give anymore because you've given so much that you're practically donating your blood, or they will force you to reject them through their incredibly awful behavior. And so you've got a choice here. When you choose those people, the people that interfere with your peace, you are choosing to be rejected by them one way or another in the long run because they are wrong for you. You give them no choice whatsoever. If you should decide to not spend time with them or just reject those people right at the start, because you don't like to reject anyone, do you? Because you don't like to be rejected. It's a mirror. If you can learn to reject others for good reason, you will find that rejection is something that you will no longer take so personally. It seems too simple, but the reality of it is, once you have made decisions about other people that they are not good for you, then you will fully understand when other people do the same to you. And ironically, less people will. The bottom line is that the middle way is avoiding the extremes. It is being as kind to yourself as you are to others. It is advocating for yourself as much as you do for others. It is spending time on you as much as you do for others. It is loving yourself just as much as you have the potential to love other people. In fact, more. Because the reality is, again, it's a mirror. The more you love yourself, the more capacity you have to love others on a large scale. I have compassion for people now that I didn't. I never imagined that I would. The middle way creates stability and peace. And when you have stability and peace, you no longer grasp for happiness. You become grateful when happiness arrives. And when less happy things happen, you don't worry about it too much because you know that it will pass. And it's the kind of peaceful place which is one of the first stops to resolving trauma. Because trauma isn't the thing that happened to you. Trauma is what you became as a result of that, the adaptations that you needed to put in, the ways that you tweaked your personality in order to survive an adverse childhood environment, whether you became the hero or the responsible one or any of those things. What you became was a trauma response. But everything that happened to me, everything, I'll leave it at that, happened in the past. It is literally, figuratively, and spiritually back there. It isn't happening anymore. What does happen is things that remind me of it. And when those things remind me of it, as a person with CPTSD, I am pre-programmed to go and become stressed and have what we call an emotional flashback. Now, that's not the case for me anymore, and that's what I'm teaching you guys to not do as well, is not to fall into an emotional flashback. But again, that has given me peace. That has given me the ability to say to myself, no, that was in the past, this is now. Because what I don't want for me, and I absolutely don't want for you guys, is for you to continue doing things in your life that create a less good future. I'd like you to have a look at the things that you're currently doing that maybe you're starting to question in your minds as a result of the work that we're doing and saying, if I changed that, what would be the result? How much would my life change as a result of changing that thing? How much would it change? What would happen? Just mull it over for a little bit. Just ask yourself, what would change if I change this one thing? You must all have like a little thing that you're thinking, I wish I could change that about me. You know, how I respond when a certain member of family does something, or my need to work 12 hours a day because that's the only way I feel worthwhile, or my inability to charge what I'm worth, or the kind of people that I keep around me. There's a lot of things like that. Little things like that. What is that thing that you're thinking of now and going, oh, yeah, what if I change that? What would it be like? How much would my life change? Is it possible? Think about it. How would other people respond? Just roll it around in your head and ask yourself, what would it be like if this person wasn't at me like 3 times a week? How much peace would there be? So much.